what you're seeing here is a representation of an organization that had two different SAP systems, a legacy SAP system and an acquired SAP system, demonstrably different data sets that we ingested as is, as well as two different systems that planned for inventory differently, reorder points versus safety stock and things of that nature. So we combine those and give a plant by plant level. So what you're seeing here is the output from is what we like to call a byproduct, is inventory optimization. Where can we go get all of the low hanging fruit and make some verifications to create a baseline for further recommendations. So an important element here is what we call a recommendation card that takes everything in the system associated with that material. So this is movement, purchase orders, bill of materials, so on and so forth. And we create a recommendation off of that based on what we think, what Verusen's recommendation should be, and you can simply agree or disagree with that. You have all the information, again, that's in the system. A key point to this is that most of the knowledge lives outside of the system. So what this is a mechanism to transfer that knowledge to a neural net, and that's why we utilize AI as a mechanism for speed, scale, and accuracy, while giving a simple way to move through and learn from every decision across the enterprise. And so I can simply here agree with the recommendation, and that kind of creates an audit trail of and works towards a feedback loop of what's the next recommendation, what's the outcome of that. Or is equally as important is this knowledge transfer aspect where I can disagree. I can say, well, I don't quite agree with, I know something else that wasn't in the system, so let me give you my opinion. So this is a big human element that is often or never taken into account and really sinks a lot of the scalability of these types of projects. And we've been studying and making this very, our goal is to continue to keep it as simple as you're seeing it as we grow. So I, as a user and an expert, can now tell you why I disagree and give you some additional information that can be applied to that material. I know dollar value, and this begins registering and giving each individual plant, division, leadership, a full view of what's available and ready to take action, and that's where that speed to value comes in. So what we're also doing at the same time, and the reason we have such high confidence, and one other point in the inventory optimization side of things is we see that as the most relevant place to start, and I'll explain that here quickly. So with the typical process, cleanse data, categorize procurement information, and how will I buy things, and then often there's a disconnect in how that's then inventoried across the enterprise. What we like to do is take existing data, let's understand it enough that we can make recommendations to a service level at 6 Sigma, 95% and above. You have voice in what those service levels are, and let's go after inventory first and say, here's areas where you can tighten up. This is this is what we call wave one, cost reduction and cost avoidance. This sets new levels so you don't over procure and overspend, and begins verifying things that we can then obviously turn on the virtual network in wave two, a period of time after these verifications are made. But the understanding of the data is what you see here. So at the same time, across systems and within the same system, we are utilizing our technology that can find duplicates that would be very difficult or impossible to find in traditional methods. and we're saying, we have a high confidence that here's the description, here's where it's at, here's what you're paying for, and here's where you're getting it. Can you agree with the check mark, disagree with the X, or am I unsure? And you begin verifying these pairs. So once you're verifying these duplicate pairs, it's grouping them behind the scenes and working towards this process that'll get you to verifications in groups and ultimately a true golden record that gets augmented and improved. That's really much of that goal. So each of these decisions are accounted for and making it very simple. Additionally, what we're showing here is part of what, when we're attacking these problems, we're really looking for true solutions and not just more workflows. So in developing this, change management was a big thing, right? So how can we achieve these things with as little friction as possible operationally? So this search is a huge component. It allows anyone across the organization, as duplicates are confirmed, to search for things by material ID or fuzzy Google type search for items. And also we'll tell you where it's at and where there are possible or verified duplicates within the system. All of these things help new materials being or limit new materials being added if I can buy from myself first. So there's all these different elements and all this complexity on the back end being made very simple. And that's why we see the results we do with companies like Georgia Pacific and Koch Industries. So that, as we look at where this goes, these verifications, again, are a brick by brick foundation around data that helps continue to deliver byproduct output in inventory optimization, as well as procurement intelligence. So there are things that we have in development and are releasing on a biweekly basis that help deepen this for your specific organization, where you learn, and then also macro elements that we apply across our network that help, again, remove this from the untrustworthy part of your supply chain.